in '67, we moved back to Utah from Oxnard, California, of course, and moved to Orem, Utah. And that I had never, I knew kind of how to drive, but I never did get my license or anything like that. And so I went to the tech school to learn how to drive. And what did that make me? How old? We'll have to put that in later. Uh, anyway, so I did learn to drive by going to the school, and but still, when we lived down there, I didn't drive very much on my own anyway. Wherever we went, Dick would always go with us anyway, and that's still the case. If I don't have to drive, that's great. Okay, while living in Orem, of course, Dick and I both had various church jobs. I would mainly go from primary to Relief Society and so forth. But and then one of the times when we did have the money that we did get from Chartomatic, we went ahead and we paid for all the food and so forth so that the ward could have a ward dinner, and that was fun. Then I can't remember exactly when I started having kidney problems, and it really did get bad. I had wanted to lose weight, and I don't know if this is what did the kidney stones, but I ate a lot of canned spinach, and I think that was probably the wrong thing to eat. But anyway, the one night that I finally, I was having a high fever, chills and so forth, and I can remember laying on the couch and just covered up with blankets and a sleeping bag and everything, but still that didn't help me to get warm, and I was just shivering. And my Relief Society teacher, who I went teaching with, came over to see how I was, and anyway, and she said, you better get her to the hospital. So, but while I was still there, she mopped the kitchen floor and did a few things, and then but I remember that I could hardly walk. I was so sick. And then I, of course, went into the hospital, and I had it was kidney stones, and they went ahead and operated on me and cut me from my tummy button clear over to the other side or down. Anyway, it was a big long gash. And anyway, and then they showed me the kidney stones when they took it out, and it was called a staghorn cluster. And in a regular pill bottle, it was 3/4 full of all these sharp little gray rocks. But anyway, I went ahead and but before this, when did we have Andrea? In '69. So yeah, it was after that we had Andrea, and then when we had Andrea, and then that's about the time that we went back to. I'll have Dick explain why we moved back to Idaho and so forth.
One reason we ended up in Orem was the fact that it was a turning point for us in California, Southern California in Oxnard, because Winston Jepson and Ruth Jepson had started the product line for Chartomatic, perpetual use ride-on wipe-off charts. Were the first in America to ever get on the marketplace. And Winston had acquaintances in Provo, Orem area.
We did this.
Huh?
We've got this already. We got
That
Chartomatic.
part.
Oh,
got
did we?
Chartomatic.
Yep.
Okay, so we, Chartomatic Corporation was set up in Provo, and that became a transition point also, where we got in negotiations with the Borough family and
We got all that.
Yeah, we got that too.
Okay.
We're at pretty much where you graduate from college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
After we sold Chartomatic, we had the opportunity for me to work on my Master of Fine Arts, MFA at Provo, and during that time I was also able to teach for 3 years in an assistantship situation, watercolor and lettering and some other experiences with the students there. And so that was my introduction back into regular teaching, and kind of set the stage for what I wanted to do from then on. And so I worked with Alex Dureas, a wonderful man, and I talked about him earlier. And then we also, and my church positions, had the opportunity to work with Don Jesse there in our ward and stake, and I was appointed to be the executive secretary for the stake, and that was a great experience to work with Brother Jesse. And then also during that time, it was a time of doing some freelance while I was at BYU and teaching part-time, and it was one that that kind of, as I mentioned, set the stage for what we wanted to do down the road when we finished our MFA.
Then you were asked to teach a year.
Yeah, we had 3 basic opportunities, not fully, but one was to stay at BYU and teach, and that was kind of an informal invitation. Then the church office magazine division in Salt Lake wanted to have me work with them, and so that was 2 choices possible that would give us employment. And then we were contacted by Hugh Binion here at Ricks College in Rexburg, Idaho, and Oliver Parson had instigated this for me to be contacted to teach here at Ricks College. They offered a job for me and for us to come up as a family, and so we took that opportunity because it was coming home. It was like what we always wanted, to be able to come back to this area, and so we grabbed at that opportunity, and we started in 1971, and President Henry B. Eyring was also appointed to be the president that same time, and so we came at the same time about in 1971. That was a wonderful opportunity to come to Rexburg. We started to live in a very humble garage that we brought all of our stuff into, and lived.
It did have 3 bedrooms though.
Yeah, it had 3 bedrooms, and we had the
1
room,
bath.
and we had a Volkswagen Squareback, so we had good transportation, and we didn't want to stay there forever, and so it wasn't too awfully long. What we did stay, about a year?
We went
Yeah,
into
that-
the house in 73.
Oh, yes. And about 2 years later, we started building our home. Well, no, we had George Stoddard, a longtime acquaintance. You know, he's the family. Selma came from the Lee family that converted our family into the church. And so he built our home out west of Rexburg, and so we had the privilege of watching and seeing our home go up, and it's all brick and a beautiful home, And then the state decided to put a freeway through, and so in 1973, no, 77, 1977, our home was purchased by the state, and then we repurchased it and bought an acre just about a block over to the east
Across
from
the
Glen
road.
Embry across the road, and it was another acre lot, and so we had to buy the home back from the state, had to de-brick it. It took all summer to de-brick it with the help of our children, and they worked hard at it, and then we had that moved over. I think we we bought it back for about $5,000. And then we had it moved, which cost an equal amount, over to the new lot. And then I spent a full summer re-bricking the home as it was being rebuilt, with a garage on it this time. And so in 1977, we changed locations, but same house, basically, remodeled. And so that became our permanent home until this very day. And later on, of course, we added this studio where we could have our painting studio and everything. And it's become a wonderful blessing to be, in Rexburg and teaching at Ricks College. And Ricks College became a wonderful involvement for Beth and I, and raising our children, and they were in the process of going to school, grade school and high school. And Michael, he was called on a mission to Switzerland in 1979, and that was a moment of triumph and joy to see him on a mission, and he is a wonderful missionary. And that's where he met his wife, Carla. Oh, that shouldn't have happened, I don't think.
Yes, it
And,
did.
but it was the right
Supposed
thing.
to.
It was a good thing. And that molded his future, too, to go on that mission. And what a change comes into play when the Lord comes in to be a part of that. And so our children, our sons, didn't get involved in sports, but they sure had some good friends. And
Skiing and
yeah, so it was fun to see them grow and to work and to have experiences that helped mold them to where they enjoyed work. And there are times when I didn't think they enjoyed work, but anyway, they came through, and because of good friends and good schools and teachers and good church experiences, not that it was always rosy at times. I know David had not acceptance into some of the, what do you call it, click area?
yeah, the
kids?
cliquish kids.
Yeah, but Michael, he meshed in very well. There's no problem there. And Brenda, she was growing up. And she was a little girl, and then Andrea was our baby when she was here, and she was a crybaby. She was something else.
She's a little bit grouchy.
Yeah, she was a grouchy girl, but man, was she a joy, and so cute. And our refrigerator is still filled with baby pictures of her little mug, and so that has been a joy to have our family raised in Rexburg and go to schools here and church, and we were blessed. We were supposed to be here.
Her little pictures were on the outside of the fridge, not in them.
Oh, that's right. I didn't have to keep them cool. She's a cool little girl, but they're still pasted on the outside. And so anyway, is there anything else?
I was just going to bring in, before we moved into our new house, I'd had the operation on the kidney in March, and by August they tried to get air flushed out my kidney all they could, but 2 more little pieces had started to grow again. So by the time the doctor wanted to get in a special unit, machine type thing before he operated, and then when it finally came in, then I was operated on again, and it was coming along fine. He was getting the kidney stones out, but the last one, he cut off a little piece of the kidney, and then he went in to grab the last kidney stone, and it shattered. And I started to bleed too much, so he just went ahead and took my kidney out. That's what happened to my kidney.
That was a scary time because we had 4 children and we really wanted to have a little larger family, and so we decided that it would be worth the risk to have Mom have children, any more children. And so that pretty well solidified the size of our family, and it worked out very well. We have time with 3 years in between each of our children, where they each got plenty of attention, and I look back on that, and it was a real blessing to have our children focused on for 3 years while the other was growing up. There was just in front.
They were born 60, 63, 66, and 69.
Isn't that neat? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's good planning.
No planning.
Two boys and then 2 girls.
It was Heavenly Father's plan.
It was his plan. We just went for the ride, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
You bet. In the 70's, that really did become a turning point in our lives, with beginning our home up here in Rexburg and teaching at Ricks College. But also another great event happened while we were here in 1976. We were traveling in California, Southern California, and we heard on the radio while we were in Los Angeles that the Teton Dam had broken in the valley up here, and finally dawned on us, Michael, and it says, oh, they mean the Teton Dam. Well, it had broke. They had been building and shaping that dam up there
just
near
filling
Newdale.
it. They were just filling.
They were filling it with water, and it was almost to the full capacity of overflowing, and then it started breaking apart. And
you need to tell we were in Oxnard with the Boyces, because we were going to have Jeff come up and move pipe.
That's right. We were staying with the Boyces at that time, and we were going to pick up Jeff, and they were going to come up and move pipe with David and Michael.
But we were trying to get hold of Brent, to find out if there would be a position for Jeff, and we couldn't get through. The lines were all busy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So go ahead.
So that kind of set the stage that something was happening in the Snake River Valley. And so Dirk, in the meantime, had of course heard that the Teton Dam was breaking, so he got in his friend's airplane, or his airplane, I don't remember, but he flew up here and surveyed the dam and flew over our home, and I wanted to check out family members and their homes, and so he did that and reported what ours looked like. And we were fortunate because our new home didn't have any doors or windows on the north end of the brick home, and so the water kind of just
flowed around
Noah's Ark, pushed the waters aside, and we only got a little water on the inside, and ruined the carpet, and it went up to the kitchen level but didn't go in. And so we really were fortunate. One little car we had out there floated over to the Steiner home or farm, and Merrill, Uncle Merrill, when he came out after the waters receded, threw a empty pop can on there just to say, well, they'll have something to clean up now. So anyway, Merrill, with his true form, took care of that. Craig told us that just a little while ago, but I was aware of it from before. But he was a jokester from that standpoint.
But it was interesting during that time that because of our living in a ward, and how things are set up, that in our church everyone was accounted for, and people on our street, they came in and turned off the electricity and everything like that. And then also we were able to go up to the campus, and the campus through the church was able to feed people. And then also the Saunders home, just a couple of doors down now, that was where we could go and eat also, and did have sandwiches and whatever. But the thing of it is, our church was right there, and anyway, it was interesting that we had so much help come in. I don't know how many buses, loads of people came in from Utah and probably Wyoming and Montana and all over to help the people get their homes back in shape. And like we said, we only had about inch or so in the bottom part. Our home had the main layer, and it just had the family room and a bedroom and a bath and the foyer and the washroom, and it just hit in there. And of course we had to change out carpets and all that kind of stuff, because of course the smell was terrible because of everything that was in the water that came in. But anyway, and then what else?
Well, we had the opportunity to, I know I had to got to go over to Don and Bonnie's to help clean out their place, because they were right in the thick of it all over in Sugar City. The flood really went through there. And so we had a chance to help with his home, and then some homes here near ours here in Rexburg. So it was a chance to help out where we had an opportunity to do so.
But as coming back here, when we were coming from California, and of course the National Guard came in, and they were blocking all the roads and so forth, so there wouldn't be any looting and so forth. And we decided that the best way to go was go up through Jackson and back down. And it was getting late coming into New Dell and so forth, and it was, you look out over the land and it was just so dark and no lights, and it was just looked so lonely and awful, eerie. And anyway, but we did stay at Brent and Eugene's, who they were living in New Dell, and then we did come down and survey, and then we did. We were able to come back into our home, because we had the kitchen was on and living room was on a separate level, and then the bedrooms were upstairs and the bathrooms.
And our boys were able to help with cleanup too, with the neighbors and Uncle Don, and so that was a good opportunity for them to get involved in that. So they became a part of the cleanup.
But it was marvelous to be able to observe and see how well organized the wards were, and through the church, because of the how it's laid out.
And during that time too, I had been appointed to serve in the stake presidency with F. Melvin Hamilton and Hammond and Robert Wilkes. And so that was a marvelous experience, being a high councilman first for a year on campus, and then to serve with Elder President Hammond and President Wilkes was a joy that was hard, because they were the best teachers and speakers in the church, and here I was a sweating little bird that was uncomfortable all the time, and I had to follow them in their talks, and I would sweat and be stressed out, but they tolerated me, and after a few hundred talks later, I became a little better.
He can get up and not even be prepared to give a talk, and he can give a talk.
But anyway.
And also,
Yes.
when I'm asked to talk, because he can do the talk so well, I have him write my talks. Then I'll give it.
She inspires me, and so I write which comes from her heart.
And then during, we might as well get the rest of our church service in at this
Yes.
time. Is that okay?
Yeah. Go for it.
During the years up till now, I had to, and then Dick can tell his, I had the opportunity, of course, to go back and forth from being a primary teacher to Relief Society, being a teacher of Relief Society, and then being a first counselor to Iris Hoagland in the Relief Society, and then also I did have the opportunity to be the Relief Society president for 2.5 years, and then of course just teaching, being a visiting teacher, and that mainly was my... Oh, we had the opportunity to go up on campus, and I was the liaison from the girls and the stake, just to be there to help them in their Relief Society duties. And I think that was pretty much.
And I had the opportunity to work with the Relief Society through High Council in the 80s, when I was called to be a High Councilman up there. And so that turned out to be a wonderful experience working with Relief Society. That's where I think Mom came out of the shell, working so much in the church and teaching and being a Relief Society president. And
Things don't scare me anymore.
no, she's fearless.
Not at all. It used to really scare me to even be, I would dread going into classes and so forth because I was afraid they were going to ask me to pray. But my goodness now, no problem at all. I'm not scared to get up in front of the whole church sacrament meeting and give a talk, and it's...
Bearing a testimony is still a challenge to get up in front. But
I do bear it
but she
when
does
I get
it
up
in
there.
private, in classes and things like that. So she's not afraid to do that. 70s, we pretty well covered.
Well, we've
the
got to
main points.
remember too, we went to Disneyland a lot.
Yeah, almost yearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that affected our family in a big way to continue
For good.
to go to Disneyland and have a lot of fun traveling together and being together as a family. We were close to doing wonderful, gaining a lot of memories and wonderful experiences in our family. And I look back and say, hallelujah, I'm glad we did that, because it really has made a difference in their lives.
Also, now about Oxnard and so forth, but when we lived in Oxnard, we'd come up to Idaho or Utah to visit. I can remember this one particular time going across from Victorville to Oxnard, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
And anyway, that was during the times we were not required to wear seatbelts.
Oh, yeah.
And so anyway, we had this red station wagon, and the two boys would stand up and act like they were surfing. And is that crazy?
Because there's so many hills.
The hills would go up and down and up and down.
Right.
But that's one memory I do remember, and I think they do too, huh?
Yeah, and then also, I always wanted to go to the art center. I'd taken a class from Theodore Youngkin in perspective. And so I always wanted to return and go full time.
We want to tell you about this one experience that we had when we were taking a trip. And were we coming back from California or what?
No, we were actually in California going through the redwoods.
Oh, that's right.
Up to go up to San Francisco and then home.
Yes. Anyway, and we had this little, this was when we were still living in the little garage area here in town. And we stopped the car to get out and look at all the redwoods and so forth.
It was the squareback.
The tan one. And so anyway, but when we all got back in, and Dick tried to get the car started, it wouldn't start. And just a sick feeling came through my stomach. I don't know about anyone else's. But anyway, and so we decided that, who was it that brought up about having a prayer?
I don't
Was
remember.
it Brenda or one of the kids?
Can't remember, but one of the children did.
One of the children said that we needed to
pray.
go have a prayer. So it was such a beautiful area too, all those big trees and the smell and all that was so neat. And so anyway, someone said that we need to have a prayer. And so, and I can't even remember who said it, was probably Dad. Or maybe it was one of the kids. I cannot remember.
I probably did.
Or one of the little kids, I don't know.
No.
Anyway, regardless of who said it, Heavenly Father was with us, and we got back into the car, and was there a man that was going to help us?
No, not then.
But anyway, so the car started up for us, and then we headed wherever we were to go, and we actually didn't dare turn the car off, even when we were asleep, did we? We left it on.
We didn't have any trust in it.
No.
But we got through that trip, and it was a testimony to prayer and answers of prayers, and so it was good for our family to go through that experience. But also during that period of time, 1980, 81, I wanted, as I mentioned before, to go to Art Center, and so we decided that we would do that, and our friend N.K. Stevenson, who at the time lived there in what's his name, Burbank?
It was his parents' house.
His parents' house, but he
But
also
he
had
was
a home
living there, yeah.
Yeah, and so he allowed us to rent a little home that belonged to his parents, and it was right there in Burbank. And so I went to the Art Center over the mountain to the east to go to the Art Center each day, and for the whole summer. So I spent a summer studying at the Art Center, and that was just a marvelous experience to take classes at the Art Center. It's something I always wanted to do. They had put me in 5th semester standing. I could take almost anything I wanted, but I got onto it's kind of an advertising design illustration program. And so they allowed me to come into that, and I would like to have finished, but to go through the whole thing, but that opportunity wasn't there because I was on leave from Rick's College to be able to do that. And so that became an opportunity that was followed up a couple of years later, the following summer, I'm not sure, to go to the Art Center again. And it was interrupted. I wasn't able to finish that one, but I basically did. I got all of the classwork done, and then coming home one time to visit, I got to Mesquite, and before Mesquite, and started passing a kidney stone, and got sick as a bird.
Sick as a dog.
Yeah, as a dog.
Yes,
And
dog
ended
is.
up in the hospital in St. George, and then came on in after a couple of days there to Salt Lake, where Mom and the kids were, and so that kind of changed our plans, and I had to not be, I wasn't able to go back to the art center. But as I mentioned, I got everything I wanted from the art center
During that time.
during that period of time.
Because then we went ahead and went back again when I was so sick.
Yeah, yeah, we tried to, and there we were living in an apartment just off of the freeway, just down from the art center, and that was a noisy, depressing time for Beth, because David was on a mission, and he was having a hard time, and so it was really tough on us at that time, especially Mom, to witness that and to be a part of that, but it was a hard summer. It was really a difficult time. So that was a fulfillment of a dream that I had had for a long time, was to go to the art center, and I did so. You know, I've had a couple of times that I've had a kidney stone in two situations they wouldn't pass. And this first one there, when I was coming home from California from the art center, was the first one that when they did go in, they discovered a little tumor in the bladder that turned out to be cancerous. Well, not passing that kidney stone probably saved my life.
And we called it Blessed Stone.
Blessed stone. And so that, and then later on, we'll talk about it, but it happened again where I was saved with a stone not passing from another cancerous situation. So the Lord has really protected me in that particular situation.
We'll tell about the kidney being taken out that time.
No, it wasn't taken out at that time.
No, another time.
I know, I was going to cover it later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
In the
did
90s.
I say that they took the kidney out, did I? Okay.
Yeah. But that wrapped up the Art Center experience, which really affected my teaching here at Rick's College in a big way, for what I learned.
But staying in that little house was interesting because I had never seen a cockroach in my life. And they actually do fall on their back with their legs sticking up when they die. And then also there was a little lizard, well, kind of a big lizard, and I think it was Andrea or Brenda got outside on some kind of bench or something, and they didn't dare get down because they saw a lizard. They were big.
But that was an interesting summer. Yeah.